Hello, my name's Ralph Shattuck. What I want to do today is demonstrate to you the effectiveness of BG MOA. Okay? This is our oil additive for petrol engines. And what we're going to demonstrate in this little one is the effectiveness as friction modification. Only one step. And this is a demonstration, not a test. So, what I need for this demonstration, obviously, is a can of product. MOA. Note the new labels. We need contaminants. Water. Oil, which we're going to put in here. And we're going to have some petrol. Okay, in this case, or favorite thing out there, okay? And you will need a plentiful supply if you're going to do the things that I do. Okay? So here's how we do it. First of all, we have a bearing, a new bearing inside here. When I press down on it, we will be getting some pressure between these two metal surfaces. When there's no oil at all in there, we're going to get friction, which you'll hear the noise, the squealing noise. That is actually metal bonding together and breaking off. So we're creating a lot of wear inside this engine, okay, with no lubrication at all. So the simplest way to do it, when I press down on here with the bearing running, I'm going to push down until it locks up, and then a member of the audience is going to give me the number that it reads down here in pounds per square. Push down. Okay. For safety, and then we get to reading from here. $25 pounds per square inch of pressure. That's not very high compared to what you get actually generated in an engine. But if you look right here, you can see the amount of wear that we got on that engine, that bearing surface, just running it with that pressure with no oil present. Now I have a brand new surface. So what we do next is I take my oil, just a generic oil. We do have others, and you can use anybody's oil in this. Okay? We put enough oil in here until we get a film of oil on the bearing surface. This is our cushioning effect that we get from an oil to stop the friction. Now we repeat the process with oil between the two metal surfaces, and we take another reading of pounds per square inch on this meter again. Okay? Slowly. 28. Okay, let me do it once more to make sure we didn't get a misread. Okay? $29. Okay. It didn't actually change very much, did it? As I push down on here, we're actually forcing the oil out of the way. And the thinner the oil, the easier it moves out of the way. So we have, again, no lubrication in there. So we're creating wear. This happens even faster when the oil is old. Let's look at the bearing surface again. It is scored very badly. Okay? That means I'm creating a lot of wear inside this engine. I'm also getting a lot of metal going around through the engine, which is actually causing more wear in other parts of the engine. It's just like sandblasting it. The more I get, the quicker it wears out the engine. Okay? Now what we're going to do is see how MOA works. I'm going to do it first, though, with an old bearing surface. So now we've got an old car, and I want to see what are the effects on an old car by adding MOA to it. So we take MOA. So we now add some MOA until we get to a little red color. Okay? Now we have a little red inside the system. So obviously I've used a little bit more than we normally do, but it's very hard to put a cup, just a fraction in there. But this is a demonstration. It is not a test. So now I'm going to see what effect it had on this old bearing surface. So when I press down on it again slowly, I need somebody from the audience. Okay? Okay.
75.
75. So it's a little better. A slight improvement on the old one. Okay, but let's see what impact it had on the bearing. This is the impressive part. When we start to look at the bearing now, if you remember what it was like before, it was all scored and ridged like that. Now you can actually see it is starting to be polished. So now we have a nice polished surface coming into contact with another polished surface. This was an old car. What happens with a new car when you start from brand new? Okay, let's do it again. We'll be fair. Don't forget we only went to 75, but they had new bearing surfaces to start with. So now we turn it to a new bearing surface. I put my thing back on here. Again, we do it slowly. How's that? Okay. Okay, this to it. We're going to contaminate this oil. That's a lot of water going in there. So we've contaminated it with water. What else? Every time I turn the engine off, petrol or gasoline or diesel fuel runs down past the rings, the little bit that's left on there. So that gets into your oil as well. We're diluting this poor old oil down really badly. You can see it starting to foam a little bit on the bearing surface. The other thing, 1 to 4 pounds of sulfurous and night darker now. Ever seen oil that's dirty like that? Foamy like that? It's getting ethylene glycol in there because the head gasket's leaking. Look at the condition of it now. How is this going to work? Your wife gets up and gets in the car with this one. Okay? A brand new car with dirty oil in it. I'm going to push down slowly, okay? And see what the reaction is. Not a sound yet. Just to get a little. Actually, if I go like that, we're really putting it in, but you can hear it's actually getting quieter and quieter. Quite impressive, wasn't it? Look at the bearing surface. Look at the reaction that we're going to have on a new car. See that little mark there? That's it. With all of that pressure and all of that torque that we created, you can barely feel it. It's just a polish mark. So now we're going to have an engine, even if you don't change the oil when you should, we're still not going to create that wear for quite a long time. We can go a lot longer with MOA in it than you can without. Okay? Before you use this machine again or do anything, you can certainly pass the bearing around to everybody during each stage or whatever you like. At the end of it, pass that bearing around. They'll be impressed.